Hi, everyone. This is Steve. I'm coming at you from my office today. Recording this near the end of the semester. This is on Wednesday, April 6th. And I've got a number of things I want to cover in this video. So it's going to be a little bit longer than usual. But it's important stuff as we sort of talk about the web genre project a little bit, as I talk about the revision project a little bit, the final a little bit, the end of time, and all the things that are due. Okay. So I'm looking at a screen over here too because that's where my schedule is. But just to let you know when I'm looking away. So I've commented on everyone's web genre project, and everybody handed those in on Monday, and I turned around and commented on them, graded them all yesterday because not only do I want to make sure that you have my comments and grade from me before you think about what project you're going to decide on for the revision, but I also wanted to do that because I'm leaving town tonight, and so I wanted that to be off of my plate. Hopefully those comments are useful. They were it was kind of quick on my part, but I think that people did pretty good. I mean, I think that like before, chances are if you had a fuller draft done before it was due for peer review, you probably had a better final draft as well. But now that's all complete. But now you have to decide what it is that you want to revise for the revision essay project. And if you'll notice, the rest of this week, there's really not much else going on. And so you should have some time to think about that before peer review begins on Monday. If you haven't decided yet, in terms of like which one to revise, I guess there's two ways of looking at it. One way you could look at it is like whichever one you did the best on originally, maybe that doesn't need as much revision, and maybe that's the one that you want to do again. I don't know. To me, that doesn't seem like it makes much sense. To me, the one that you should want to try to revise is the one of the first three assignments that you feel like you could do something different with, that you still feel like you're interested in, that you're still something that you could bring to it that's a little bit different. It's kind of up to you. I don't know if it makes a lot. I guess what I'm saying is that I wouldn't necessarily revise a project because you got a bad grade on it. I wouldn't necessarily revise a project because you got a good grade on it. I mean, I would revision one of the projects that you think that has the most potential for you to do something different with it. That's about as much advice as I can give you on that. We'll see how it goes. Peer review for that will begin on Monday, April 11th. Now, a couple of things that I want to mention about that. The first thing is that for this peer review, I assign people into groups, and so it's not it's me assigning the groups. It's not Canvas, and everyone's already been assigned to a group. And I think you might be able to go look at that already to see who's reviewing who and all that kind of stuff. I think I'm not sure exactly how Canvas works like that. The second thing is that don't forget that part of this assignment is you need to have an outside reader, because remember, this is actually kind of a two-part assignment. You're going to make a revision, a redoing, a reseeing of one of the three original projects, but you're also going to write a short essay, like maybe about 1,000 words, I think is what the assignment says, which to me is about 4 pages, give or take, where you make reference to the things that we've read, that talk about revision strategies, that talk about writing strategies, that talk about habits of writing, things like that, and that you also speak about the experience of what it was like to have someone from outside the class read and comment on your project, because again, that is a part of the assignment. So make sure that you have somebody in mind to participate in this peer review from outside the class. And then not that they would participate in online, but you would show them the essay in person or via Google Documents or something like that. The second thing is that you got to remember that there's no survey for this peer review assignment. There's no rubric for this peer review assignment because everyone's going to be doing something a little bit different, and so I didn't create one. So what you need to do as a writer is that you need to create, when you post your essay to the group for peer review, you need to give everybody a little bit of guidance as to what it is after, what you're thinking of, and things like that. So maybe a sentence or two saying, well, I chose to decided to do this essay because of this reason, and this is what I'm trying to do with it that's different, that's revisioning it, and things like that. Okay. That starts on Monday, April 11th. And you'll notice that next week for April 11th, April 15th, that is all we're doing. We're doing that, and you're finishing up your blog prompt number 19. Hopefully people have gotten caught up on the blogs. I'll give you a little secret. I will look at the blogs one more time, probably either the week of the 15th, the 11th through the 15th, probably on that Thursday or Friday. because by then people will be done with peer review, and by then they should be done with that. And then there's one last blog prompt that's due at the end of the term on Monday, April 18th, which is a return to the first blog prompt, which is what is style. So hopefully the answer that you have for what is style is probably a little bit different now than you had at the beginning of the term. But anyways, it's intentional that that last full week of classes, April 11th through the 15th, I'm trying to take it down so that everybody can have time to concentrate on this revision project. So hopefully these revisions will be just like fantastic because you've had all this time to work on it. Okay, then we get towards the end of the semester. The last day of the term is April 19th. Due on April 19th is the revision essay project. You will hand that in on Canvas, and you'll notice that I won't be commenting on it as I've done in the past during the peer review process. And the comments that I'll deliver on this last project, quite frankly, will be very brief, because what I'm trying to do is essentially figure out the last grade, figure out the grade for you for the semester. Also due that last week on April 18th, actually, on the schedule, besides the last blog prompt that I just mentioned, is the second part of the participation grade. You're going to do the same thing that you did for the first part of the participation grade. You're going to email me and tell me what grade you think you should just get for participation and why. Then there is a final that we've already started talking about on Canvas that is due April 21st, 5 p.m. Michigan time, and that is the end of time. In terms of the final, I think that the conversation there has been pretty good. Be sure to actually read the final itself. There's a discussion part of the final, and then there's actually a link to the final, and you want to make sure that you're seeing the link to the final that's part of that discussion at the top part. The thing about the final is that it's something that is part of the certification program for those of you who are in the teaching program, you're in some sort of education program. So, which is, usually in a class like this, it's usually about 5 or 6 students, sometimes more, sometimes less. The point is that I make everybody take the final because I do think it's a good idea to reflect on what it is that you've done this semester. It's a narrative essay. I want you to focus on how you met the outcomes as opposed to the order of the class. In other words, you want to look at the outcomes and say, well, I learned about assessment by doing these things, or I learned about writing peer review things by doing these things, or whatever. I learned about technology by doing these things. You don't want to do, well, first we wrote this assignment about YouTube, and then we did this thing where we remixed style guides, because that's the order of the class, but that's not really responding to the prompt. Does that make sense? I think it does. So hopefully it does. If it doesn't, let me know. Ask questions. But that's something it's something that I'm required to give you to do. So my take on the final is that it can only help you. I promise you that I will not give you a grade in the final that will make your grade lower, no matter what you do with the final. I will only give you a grade on the final that if you do a diligent job, they'll make the grade higher. So this is the ultimate of low stakes finals. Okay. One other thing about the final too that I want to point out: if everybody has to hand in the final here on Canvas, and that's due April 21st at 5 p.m. Michigan time. So that what that means is that you are going to need to post your Word file or what have you on some sort of PDF, something like that. But you're going to need to post that on Canvas by 5 p.m. April 21st. If you are in an education program, you have to additionally post it onto LiveText. Okay, this is really important. You have to if you're in the education program, you have to post it in both places. If you only post it in LiveText, I will not see it automatically on I won't see it on Canvas when I'm figuring out the grade and stuff, so I won't know that you've actually finished it. So make sure that you post it in both places if you're an English ed person or an education person. If you're not in education, you don't have to worry about this at all. Just post it here like you would some other assignment. Now, let me mention finally a little bit about the end of time. The end of time for the class is April 21st at 5 p.m. Michigan time. Let me explain what that means. On April 21st at 5 p.m., everything is fine. Birds are singing, children are playing. Hopefully it's not snowing anymore. Perfectly normal, everything's fine. However, at 5:01 on April 21st.
Time ceases to exist. We're sucked into a void, a black hole. Ah!
Scary, isn't it? Okay, so what I mean by that is that the semester is done at 5 p.m. on April 21st. So if you were to say to me, Steve, is there any way I can hand this in on April 22nd? I would say, what do you mean? There is no April 22nd. Because everything has to come to an end, and the end for us is going to be 5 p.m., April 21st, Michigan time. If something horrible happens and you are not able to get the final in, I will give you an incomplete because it is important for me to be able to sit down on that evening and start figuring out the grades. So my again, that deadline is firm. So make sure that you hold on to that. Okay, I think that's all I need to cover here. It's a lot of material, a lot of stuff going on here at the end of the semester, but we're almost done, and we will get through to the other side. Okay, I'll see you online.